is Jamie Leha with Leto X, and I'm back with another Flosstube. So this video is going to be more like a traditional Flosstube where I'm going to go through my finished projects, my completed projects, and my in progress whips, all that fun stuff. So to start, I thought I would show an image of a fully finished piece that I worked on. This was a project for my mom's birthday. It was August 10th, and she loves Halloween type things, and she also really likes tiny things, so I loved this little tiny mouse from Tiny Modernist, and so I stitched that out for my mom's birthday. And even though it really is kind of more fall appropriate, I have a feeling she's going to keep it up kind of year round, just because it's cute and tiny and it can be tucked away really easily onto a shelf. And she really loved it, so I am happy with how that one came together. So next up, I'm going to go through half of my completed projects, and I'm going to show you in two different videos, this one to start, how I go about organizing all of my projects. And these are projects that are finished, that are completed, that are in progress, that are kitted, that are prepping, that are on deck, or kind of the terminology that I use. And I can go into a little bit more about this if there's interest. But today I'm gonna also splice in some images, or not images, some video of me showing you how I organize digitally. So I organize digitally and with a paper planner. Today's video is gonna focus on the digital side of things. So I will start by showing you how I do this.
Okay, so to digitally organize my projects, I organize them by the patterns that I have purchased and have in my stash. And I put everything into a spreadsheet that is in Google Sheets. And I record all of this information about the patterns that I own. I did this earlier in this year, but I actually have purchased so few patterns over the last decade that I am able to remember all of the ones that I purchased prior to 2024. And thanks to the magic of Gmail, was able to find record of all of these transactions, because they're primarily digital PDFs that I got from Etsy. And I took the time to go back and put all of the projects, all of the patterns that I have purchased, which all of them concludes all 11 of them from prior to 2023, and then all 16 of them prior to this year, into a spreadsheet. And then as I've been purchasing lots more patterns in 2025, I've added to the spreadsheet. So essentially what I include here is the date of when I purchased it, the vendor, and then also the designer, because sometimes they are not the same, the name of the pattern, whether I have the pattern digitally or a paper copy. I keep track of the price. And then these are also a few different ways I categorize the information to help me. So I keep track of what season I think would be good to stitch each pattern. I also keep track of the year that I think that I will stitch the project. And then this is also inclusive of when I stitch the project, if I already have a completed stitch. And then I have all of my various categories, which I just rumbled through really quickly a few minutes before in the other video. But I categorize these by the stage of the process the project is in. So at the very start, I just have a pattern. And if I've done absolutely nothing with that pattern, I categorize it as on deck. So I've purchased the pattern, step one, and I've done absolutely nothing with it. That's what it gets categorized as. Step two in my process then is I have purchased a pattern, and I've also started prepping the project. And for me, prepping the project is that I've started purchasing floss or fabric or whatever else I might need to make that project happen. I don't necessarily have all of the pieces pulled together. I may have ordered things, but they have not arrived yet. All of that gets categorized into the prepping category. Then once all of the items have arrived and all I have to do is start stitching the project, but I have not yet stitched, I categorize those as kitted projects. So I have everything I need, I just haven't started yet. And then moving forward in the process, the next category would be that the actual pattern is in progress. These are the whips that everyone talks about. It's my works in progress. So they are in progress at some stage. Maybe it's only 5%, maybe it's 95%, but they're in progress. They have not yet been completed, which is the very next part of the stage for me. And for this to differentiate between a finished pattern and a fully finished object, I actually call my patterns completed. Like the pattern's completed, all of the stitches are in the fabric, but I've done nothing to make it pretty or finalize it or put it in a frame or make a pillow or any of that stuff. So the pattern is there and it's done, but it hasn't gone to its final form yet. And then of course there is the finished category, which is when I have something ready to display. It's completely put together, it's hanging on a wall, it's sitting on a shelf, and it's good to go. I can filter on this spreadsheet and see those projects. So if I filter just on the finished projects, of all of the patterns that I've purchased over the years, I have only fully finished 4 of them, which I'm not too sad about. I think that's fine. I'm not too concerned that I haven't finished more. This year has been the year that I've done the most stitching ever in my life, and I have 10 completed projects that just need some finishing. And I'll be going through all of these in the video, here in the video later, but just as I'm showing you how I digitally organize things, I wanted to make sure that you had access and could see this. Because I said I would go through a little bit of how I organize things. So I can see that I have 10 completed projects, and I am very happy about that, considering that grand total, I have 63 patterns that I have purchased and intend loosely to cross stitch. And then that actually just reminded me that there's one other category that I did not talk about in here, and that is the parked category, where I have decided to park a project. And that means that I have purchased a pattern, but I don't have any imminent plans of actually stitching it. Either because I've changed my mind about the design, or in this case here, I was buying several patterns in support of Ukrainian artists at the start of the conflict in their country. And looking back at them now, it's kind of like, I don't think I'm going to actually stitch these. In the case of these, I am pretty sure that this is AI art, and I should have known better when I purchased like 20 flosses to get this project started and still had like 60 more I needed to buy. And yeah, I just don't think I'm going to move forward on those projects, because I'd rather stitch something that was intentionally designed by a creator, by a person. So at the moment, I have these projects parked. And of the 63 total patterns, I have 14 of them parked. And it's just me, literally, it just means that I don't know when I would get to these, if ever. And I have so many other projects that I'd rather prioritize. These are kind of at the bottom of the list. So going back, I wanted to show you just really quickly, like, here's everything in all its glory, all 63 individual patterns that I've purchased. This doesn't include the books that I've purchased, by the way, which I don't have many. I think I have 3. Well, I will now have 4, because I think this one is actually a book. And I will have to figure out a way to integrate these into the system that I have. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm not going to add the books in here, even though I have this book in here for whatever reason. But you can see over the past decade, I have spent $458 on patterns. And it's hilarious when you realize once again that I only purchased 16 patterns before this year. And then this year came around and I was a pattern purchasing monster. And as of today, I've purchased 47 patterns this year. But I'm okay with that. I'd rather purchase a pattern and have it in mind as like what I'm going to be working on next, then maybe, this is somehow works in my brain, and I'm happy that I found something that works, and this is how I'm going to continue to track my projects, aka patterns, and it really works for me, and I just wanted to show you that this is how I do it. I'm not necessarily encouraging or suggesting anyone else do this, because it might seem like a big pain in the butt, and to each their own. I really enjoy kind of keeping track of this kind of thing, and this is how I've chosen to do it. Also in this spreadsheet, I have a start and a finish date, and that's the day I started stitching and the day I finished stitching. So the day I have a complete pattern, not necessarily the day of when a pattern is fully finished. And then for the projects that I've started working on since I created this spreadsheet, I'm able to keep track of the number of days I spent working on the project. Just roughly, it's not like I stitched for 51 entire days to get this vintage Halloween fair project done, but I started at the end of August and finished just before Halloween. And then at some point I'd like to add in total stitches for each of the projects. I don't know why. I haven't yet. Maybe I never will. But that column is there if I ever feel like playing with data and pulling out all my patterns and seeing how many stitches are in each. But yeah, this is just a quick overview of how I keep track of my projects, aka patterns. And then I also want to show you quickly that I have a cross stitch folder in my Dropbox where I keep track and save, all of the books that I've purchased. This is one book that I purchased digitally. All of the fabric that I own currently. I am part of Under the Sea Fabric of the Month Club, so I've been getting lots of fun goodies, and I'm keeping track of them here just so that I can remember what I have. And then also, as I am as I'm like getting new patterns, I kind of have an idea of what potential fabric I could use. And then also I have a want section here of ones that I think that I might want to purchase. I subscribe to Just Cross Stitch magazine, so I have all of these magazines in here in case I want to browse. I have joined a few Patreons. Currently I'm only with Mama Witch X Stitch, so I have lots of patterns from them. I was a quick follower of the Witchy Stitcher and Tiny Modernist. And then this is the pattern portion where it aligns with the spreadsheet that I've shown you back here, but you can see all of the finishes that I have, everything that's completed, those that are in progress, kitted, prepping, on deck, and parked. And then I also have this category for freebies that I've gotten from around the internet. But what I keep in these folders are just an image, like the image of what the project should look like at the end. I keep all these, and then I keep also, because I own many digital patterns, I keep the digitals in here as well. I keep the PDFs in here as well, is what I meant to say. And then I try to keep track with the numbers here. So these are 10 completed projects. I have all of the images for these 10 completed projects. And it's really simple when I finish a project to then move the image, the thumbnail of the finished project, or what it's intended to look like, and if there is a digital pattern, into the next category there. So I don't know why my brain likes to do this, but it does. And it just really corresponds with what's going on in the spreadsheet. So at any given time, again, I can, filter off of what I have in progress, these three, and then I can go to my folders and see the images of the three. Plus I have the digital PDFs if there is them. This will make a little bit more sense potentially when I show you how I keep track of things with a paper planner, but that is a video for another day. So thank you so much for watching this portion of the video. So let's get started. I have been keeping some of my completed projects in this little ISIS case. It's 8.5 by 11 size. It's meant to hold paper, but at the start of doing this, my projects were really small. So I was like, oh, it's fine. I can just have them hang out in here until I'm ready to like fully finish them. And now they've kind of piled up and they don't all fit in here, and I don't really like how I've been doing it in here. So this is probably the last time you will see them in this type of format. But to get started, I will show you a project that I finished last October. This is from the Witchy Stitcher, and it is her Haunted Vintage Carnival or Fair, I think. And I love it. I love it so much. I did this on, it looks like 18 count, and it's some sort of gray fabric. Again, this was from 2024, so I don't really remember where I got this fabric from. I'm assuming, I'm not assuming. I know I got it online because I couldn't find this, at Michael's, which is kind of where I was the only place I was shopping back then, because I wasn't even aware of like needle workshops and those kinds of things. So yeah, this was one of my first projects where I sat down and I completed it like start to finish in just a few weeks, because I love the design so much and I was super, super excited to work on it. And yeah, this is what I'm saying is the start of my current cross stitch obsession, was finishing this piece by the Witchy Stitcher. Okay, then in 2025, my husband and I went to a friend's wedding. She was married in South Africa. She got married to a South African. So we spent 2 weeks in South Africa with them ahead of the wedding. And so I'm like all things Africa after I came home from that trip, because it was amazing. And so I went online to try to find a kind of safari, I guess, themed or animal themed cross stitch. And this guy I found on Etsy from a seller. I think unfortunately that this is another like AI situation, because this was like, the pattern name was like animal 127 or some random number, but it's so cute. And actually I think it's like nursery. It's a nursery project, but I don't care. I think it's adorable and I had a lot of fun stitching it. I can share the link to this specific design if it's something you're interested in the description. But yeah, I don't know. It was like Happy Cross Stitcher, I think was the Etsy shop. Look in the details in the description if you want to find out more. But I do love how it came out. I ended up not using the colors that were called for. I changed them up just a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can get better color here. Yeah, let's tilt it back up. This is just on white, 18 count it looks like. And I think the original color scheme only called for 4 colors. So it's kind of like this rusty brown, dark brown, this like yellow, and then 1 blue. But I added another blue in because I wanted a little bit more color, and I think that it worked really nicely adding in that additional color. And because this is kind of a big guy, I didn't realize at the time, which is fine. I ended up on a whim looking at pre-cut mat boards to frame this, pre-cut mats to go over it for framing on Amazon, and I came away with this amazing like big circular, it's not circular, oval, and I got it in black, and I think it's kind of really awesome and perfect for this. So I already have a frame. I have the mat. What is holding me back from fully finishing this is that it does need a wash, and thankfully this is just white Aida and this is all DMC floss, so it should be fine. But
It's one of the few projects I have where you can kind of distinctly see, like there's some smush dirt here and elsewhere on it. So it definitely, like, I have not historically washed projects ever, so this is gonna be my first. But yeah, it definitely needs it. Like I wouldn't want to frame it with like the little kind of hand oil debris still sitting on there. But I do really love this. And it kind of kicked off a round of pattern searching and projects that are all kind of like Africa and safari themed. So this was the start. Okay, so back with another project that is like safari themed from our trip. And this may look like it's fully finished, but I want to purchase some additional matting for this. I love this square red frame from IKEA, and it's one that either you can put the mat like kind of right up against the lip of the frame, or you can push it further back and have like more space between this and the front of the frame. But this is the guinea fowl pattern from Artist Designs. And guinea fowls, we saw a lot of guinea fowls, and they were beautiful and they were hilarious because as we were driving on our safari, they were like running directly in front of the safari Jeep instead of like going to the right or the left. So we got to see some running, and it was just adorable because one of the things that makes me laugh is birds running, because why should they? Unless you're like an ostrich or a land bird. But yeah, birds running cracks me up. So that was a delightful moment that I will treasure forever. But this guy called for some specialty floss, which I didn't know anything about this specialty floss at that point. So it also came with DMC conversions where you can combine one strand of two different colors of DMC to make the stitches. And I love that she included that conversion because it worked really well. And I think that the colors in this are really beautiful. I ended up stitching it on just kind of like an off-white, like a cream color, which is not my usual preference, but I wanted there to be some contrast between the project, and the mat. I didn't want it to kind of all blend together. And then, like I said, I do want to get another mat. I want to get a black mat, probably to sit underneath this white one. And so it just frames it a little bit more on the inside, so that there's not as much just like extra cloth around the design. But so this was project 2 of my safari series. And the last part of this safari series that I did is this project from Lindy Stitches. So Steph released this earlier this year. It was part of an endangered animal series that she did last year as some sort of membership. I'm not 100% sure about it, but the patterns are now available individually, and she's been releasing them on her website, Lindy Stitches. And so I saw this elephant and I fell in love with her immediately because she is beautiful. She is beautiful, and there's a lot of like detail in her, and there's very cool motifs. And I'm looking at like a monitor that's backwards, so I apologize if I'm like struggling to get it in frame really nicely. But yeah, so this is a project from Lindy Stitches, and I ended up getting the full, like I added to cart the pattern, the PDF pattern, and then all of the floss that was called for, as well as the Ada. So this is 18 count Ada. I think it's Silver Moon by Swigart. It's like a beautiful, beautiful like white. And I just love how she came together. She's a beautiful elephant. We had a very interesting experience on safari with elephants. Basically, there were 5 elephants that lived together without a matriarch. But the father was on property as well as 2 of the kids, and they had gotten separated for the day, so they were not happy. And as our Jeep pulled up, we had one Jeep ahead of us. They kind of annoyed the baby girl. And then we pulled up behind that Jeep, and she was over it. So she started trumpeting, and she started like pulling up small trees. And then after another minute of kind of testing her patience, she ended up running directly at our Jeep, which our driver thankfully is very skilled and has a lot of experience with that particular elephant, who he called a brat, because I guess she threw a rock at the Jeep one time, which that's freaking scary. I can't imagine. But anyway, it was a very interesting moment in my life to have an elephant stampeding at the car. So he drove us off really quickly and was kind of still in the area, and we were going to see if she would calm down so we could go back the way that we needed to, or we were going to have to go like the entire long way back towards the lodge. And yeah, she was not having it. So thankfully she stopped running at a certain point, but if she wanted to, she could have come running, charging at us full force. And even though she was the baby elephant, not like a tiny elephant, she was a small elephant. She was not a baby. She was the youngest of all the elephants, and even her tiny size, it's freaking terrifying to have something like that running at you in an open air Jeep. But I have such fond memories of the safari and funny, crazy memories of the elephants, so that is absolutely why I wanted to stitch this piece, and I completely love it. It just needs some finishing, and I will figure out how to frame it and what I want to do there, and hopefully share how this ends up one of these days. But the last of the projects I want to share in this video, as I have showed you, how I'm digitally organizing projects, is one that I completed fairly recently, as in August, and that is the Little Dove Designs Moth and Mushroom pattern. I think this is so cute. This is on an 18 count Aida from Under the Sea Fabrics, which is my local needlework shop, because guess what? I discovered needlework shops. And this one had escaped my notice because it's called Under the Sea Fabrics. So as I was searching for needlepoint, cross stitch stores, nothing was coming up. And then someone randomly shared, oh, I'm using Under the Sea Fabrics, which I hadn't heard of, so I clicked on, and I saw, as I was looking at some of the fabrics, that you could either have it shipped to you or you could pick up at the store, and it listed the address in San Antonio, and I was like mind blown. Oh my god, there's something here I can go visit and see. So I went very quickly after discovering it and got 3 different fabrics, which I love. This is Buffalo Bayou, 18 count Aida, and it's an oval, so there is some shine to it. If you look at Buffalo Bayou on the website, it looks more gray. This in real life is a bit more green to me, so I thought it was a perfect background for this design, this moth and mushroom design. And it's like a repetitive pattern that went in a circle, and I really love how it looks finished, but for whatever reason this one was really kind of boring to stitch. I don't know why, because I love the finished result, but I kind of didn't have it. You know what it is? I know what it is. It's because when I went to Under the Sea Fabrics here in San Antonio, I got excited and wanted to buy all the things and support this store that I'd never heard of, even though they've been a successful business for a number of years. I got a paper pattern versus a digital pattern, and it was just kind of a slog to use the paper without, like, I don't have access to a copier, and I have a scanner app on my phone, but it doesn't work very well for these kinds of patterns because it's really hard to get a straight up and down image. And I don't know, I tried to import it into RxP markup, I think that's what it's called, RX markup, and it just wasn't working out, so I went with the paper, and I didn't want to like actually mark up the paper, and so yeah, that just made it not as fun for me, like having to deal with this paper that I didn't want to mark up. Now if I had gone and made a copy of it, I would have probably had a better time and had more fun with this for whatever reason, but I don't know, I just really didn't enjoy stitching this, even though I really love how it looks, how it turned out. And so this is one of the few designs that I have. It's like in a circle. So I'll probably get an embroidery hoop and just hang it up in my wall here in my, what is now my scrapbook room, and what will be my husband and I's home office slash stitching finishing room. I will talk a little bit more about that later, but yeah, I think it's so cute. I really love how it turned out on this fabric specifically. I love the opulence, which this was my first foray into what is this called? Opalescent Ada. I love it. I'm currently working on another project on it. So yeah, this one is really great, and I'm happy that it's done. So I've shown you 5 of the 10 completed projects that I have. So I'm gonna have okay, as I was getting this together, as I was kind of cleaning things up, a transformer blew across the street, which happens a lot in our neighborhood. So if you heard that boom, it usually happens, unfortunately, when a squirrel steps on one of the electrical lines and it explodes. Thankfully we still have power. I don't know what's going on across the street. But yeah, so anyway, back to my Flosstube. And so I finished showing you the 5 completed projects and how I organize my projects digitally. So now I'm gonna switch over to works in progress. In the month of September, one of my goals is to try this newfangled notion to me of working on multiple projects at the same time. I have been a stitcher who I continue to work on the same projects till it's done, and then I start a new one. And rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. But as I've been kind of watching other Flosstube and like seeing how other people do it, I see a lot of people working on multiple projects at the same time. And it's not my natural tendency, so I decided that I would try it this month in September and see how I like it. So right now I have 3 works in progress, and this is the most works in progress I've ever had. Let me start by showing you the oldest whip that I have. And I started this one in January, and this was kind of before I really, really dove in. But this is what it looks like, and I will put a photo on the screen of what it's meant to be. It's the cats of El Gato Gomez, who is an artist that I follow on Instagram and love, and actually own a few of his pieces. And he did a collaboration with Vivsters, and I don't think it's even available on Etsy any longer. But I freaking loved it because, one, I love this artist. I love his style. I love the like mid-century look that he has to his art and his work. And then this one featured 3 cats, a black cat, a white cat, and a gray cat, which I have a black cat. I have a Siamese who's like a tortie too, so she's kind of off-white. And I have a gray cat. So it was like the perfect piece to start stitching, and I really love it. This is kind of the last project that I did before I started like finding all the patterns that I love, finding out all the places I now like to shop. And I just haven't gone back to this. And I think part of it is because it's a full coverage project. So that is why I decided to stitch it in this kind of off-white Zygarde, like pre-gridded fabric. And so it has helped. It's helped me kind of keep in place and whatnot. And I'm actually really proud of the stitching, considering this is one of the projects that I started working on early in my year, which this is kind of the first full year of me being really heavily involved with cross stitching and just loving this hobby. So I love how this one has come together. It's a huge pattern. I have it in a markup, RX markup, and I just need to like show which ones that I've completed, and then I'll have a better idea of how much progress I've made on this project. It's like 16 printed 8.5 by 11 pages. I think that I finished like one full page and then like parts of others. So this guy still has a long way to go, but I love it. And this month I'm determined to add something to it because I have not picked this up since January. And I would like to do probably about 10% more to this than what I already have. So once I put it in Markup RX, I can see what my current progress is and then try to add 10% on to that. Okay, and then I have two new starts that I did August 31st and September 1st in an attempt to try this multi-projects going at a single time, multi-whips in progress. And this is where I am. There we go. So this is the Midnight Book Cart, I believe is what it's called. And it's from Haunted Frame Stitchery on Etsy. And it's a book cart, and then there's also, obviously there's books on it. There's also like a ghost cat on it. And there's gonna be some like bats and other things that come up, like stars, I guess, at the top. I am stitching this on 18 count Aida. No, actually, I think this is 16 count because that's what they had available on the day when I went to Under the Sea Fabrics. And I'll have to put on the screen which color this is specifically. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's so pretty. It's this like deep blue. I really love it. It's again on pearl, or not pearl. It's on opalescent Aida that was then hand dyed. And I do think it's coming together really well. The only unfortunate thing is the light blue in the pattern is basically the same color as the fabric. But that's okay because the light blue is kind of used sparingly, and this is the only spot where it touches the background. And I still have to add a little bit of detail into some of these books, but I love how this is coming together. And I think it's at like 20 some odd %. I'm already finished with this. So I really love how this is coming together. Okay, and then this is my last work in progress. It is a pattern from Flossy Fox Shop on Etsy, and it's her librarian pattern. It is a dragon with like 3 girls on it who are reading books, and the dragon will have spectacles and like the glasses string thing. It's so cute. It has like sampler alpha above and below it, but I think I'm not going to do that part. I'm just going to focus on the dragon and the girls, and I'm going to frame this up and put it on the wall behind my desk at work because I work through a book festival, so this is appropriate to have on the walls at a book festival. This is a 14 count Aida from Fat Quarter Shop. I will have to look exactly. It's like gray fairy dust or something like that. I'll have to look up the exact name of it. But I got it from Fat Quarter Shop. It is like a printed Aida, and then the back is totally white. So no print on this side, only print on this side, on the front. And it's 14 count Aida because I purchased this many months ago when, I don't know, I thought I would stitch more 14 count Aida, and I will say that after this project I will probably never be stitching a 14 count Aida because I do not love 14 count Aida. Mainly because I really love 18 count Aida. I like that I can get 2 strand coverage and really cover the fabric with my stitches, versus 14 count Aida, I struggle to get 2 strands to cover the fabric. So this is 3 strands, which is not my favorite. I like to use 18 count Aida in railroad with a loop start my project. So this is fine. Like, I am enjoying stitching this because it's a really cute design. But yeah, 14 count Aida is not my jam anymore. So this will be my last project, but I'm enjoying how this is coming together. Okay, so now that I've shown you my works in progress, my whips, I thought I would switch over to haul before I get into my future plans, because the haul leads into future planning. So I went this week to Under the Sea Fabrics here in San Antonio, and I picked up my fabric of the month, and then also a few items that I had asked Leslie, who owns the shop, to order for me. So one of the things that I asked her to order for me is Hello Midnight by Teresa Kogut, I think is how you say. And it's a book that has 8 different projects, including this adorable witch with her little cat. Come on, let's focus here. There we go. Including this one in the front that I really love. There's several projects in here that I would love to work on. I don't know if I'll get to them this Halloween, but I love the book and I wanted to be sure to grab it as soon as I possibly could, so that I wouldn't forget. And let's see, I really love this one. Very cute. And then, oh yeah, these two. These lovely witchy ladies are awesome, and I wanted to be sure to stitch those up. So this is probably for 2026, because that's how far into 2026, or that's how far ahead I'm planning, because I know how many projects I have that I want to be working on. And then also I ordered the Thankful Receiver. I have a lot of Halloween projects, patterns, but I don't have a lot of just like straight fall. So this was one of the few fall projects that I have. And I just loved like his plaid pants. Yeah, his plaid pants are what did it for me. And I just thought it was cute decor that I can stitch up and have. I'm so sorry, the cat is using the litter box in the front of the room. Normally the litter boxes aren't in here, but we're like redoing the floors in our house, and anyway, the glitter boxes are in here, and there's a cat in them at the moment. It is Minnow, the Siamese cat, if anyone is curious. But yes, so this is another little bit of haul that I got that I really love and enjoy. The main reason that I went into the shop is because my fabric of the month was available, and just the idea of having a local needlework shop available to me, I am so thrilled and tickled by it. And then also the fact that they like hand dye, it's amazing. So normally I get a fat quarter in my order, but this month I love the color so much, I decided to get a fat half, and it is the August 2025 color, which is Jazz. Look how beautiful this piece is. I love it so much. And I got, as usual, 18 count Aida. I didn't get opalescent, but I love this color. It is so pretty and moody, and it leads me into some future plans that I have, which are my birthday start. So this month in September is my birthday. My birthday is September 27th, and I decided that I wanted to jump on the bandwagon and have my own birthday start this year. And so I selected for my birthday it's a pattern called the Moonlight Sampler from the Blue Flower. It is so beautiful and gorgeous, and the model was stitched on a kind of like a warm brown, a tan brown, a lighter tan brown, and I just wanted something a little bit moodier and darker. So I think I went into Under the Sea Fabrics trying to see if there was any other options that I might consider, and then I picked up my fabric and I was like, no, there's no other options to consider. This is it. I really love this blue. And here, I'll put it next to the blue from earlier, and just to show you that this one is a lot more green. There's a lot more yellow in it, I should say, actually. Less yellow, more yellow, less cold as this blue. And so, yeah, I got all of the specialty flosses that are needed for that project. So it's a mix of DMC, Weeks Dye Works, and Color Fast. CC, Classic Colorworks. There we go, I think. Classic Colorworks. So yeah, I love the DMC, or I just love all of the colors. And I'm excited to get this going. I think there is a possibility, even though I went ahead and got all the called for flosses, that some maybe aren't gonna work as well with this. And I think it might just be in some of the darker stuff. Sorry, I'm just trying to rearrange it here and defying gravity by holding these here. But yeah, these are the colors that come as part of, or that are called for. And so I just love this pile of goodness, and I'm excited for my birthday start this year. It's a beautiful piece, and I can't wait to get started on it and to finish it and have it hanging up on my wall. Okay, and the last part of the planning that I want to discuss in this video is, like I mentioned earlier, the fact that the room that I'm sitting in is being redone in such a way that it's going to be the home office for both me and my husband, and also like my area for finishing and stitching and, you know, just general crafting stuff. It's been my scrapbook room since we moved into this house in 2022, but I'm not scrapbooking anymore, unfortunately. And that doesn't mean that all my scrapbook stuff is going away. I actually designed, or not designed, I didn't do any design. I actually organized and put things in this room in such a way that like all of the actual scrapbooking stuff is in the closet. So I don't have supplies or anything like that kind of hanging around here. And I'll show you like a pan of the room and what it looks like before I started kind of packing this stuff up, and what it looks like currently, as a lot of things are packed up in here, because I think I mentioned just a little bit ago that we're redoing the floors. So basically I'm gonna have to at a certain point get all of the stuff out of this room so they can do the floors and then bring it all back in. It's like moving out of our house 2 times. Well, it's like moving out of our house another time, because we have to move many things from one side of the house to the other so they can work on phase 1. And then when that's done, eventually we'll have to move everything out of this side of the house into the other so that they can finish the flooring. But I'm really excited about the plan for this room. It's a big, beautiful room with lots of light and lots of windows. And I have so many ideas in my head that I can't wait to see how they might work in real life. And I think my husband's excited that he's gonna have like an office that isn't only an office kind of area and not also a guest bedroom. But yeah, we're really excited about that. Okay, and so this is what the room looks like today. It has lots of boxes and bins for things that needed to be packed up, and then also stuff from other parts of the house that needed to come in here while they're working on the opposite end of the house. But it is a really nice big room with, I'm very lucky to say, 2 closets. This one being a walk-in and that one being not a walk-in. And then the people that own the house before us raised 7 children in this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And in this room, the 3 girls lived. So it is an exceptionally large room, for which I am very thankful. And I am excited to show you all what it will look like when it's done. So essentially, this is my desk, and I will continue to utilize it as my desk, but it's going to be moved over to this side of the room. My husband's standing desk is going to go here. It like lowers and adjusts to whatever height he wants it to be. Then there's going to be my desk. We're keeping these 2 Alex drawers as kind of like office supply drawers, but this table is going to be moved over here where these 2 shelves are. And then these 2 shelves are going into our like library den area, so I'll have that there. And then right next to it is my grandmother's great-grandmother's, the one who hand sewed this butte. This is her antique sewing machine, which I have my current like cheapo sewing machine sitting on top of. But yeah, that's the general plan for this. And then
all of this stuff obviously is just gonna go away.
Okay, and with that, that's the end of this Flosstube. I really greatly appreciate the time that you spent with me, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week. And I would like to cheers to my dears and see you next time.